Welcome to another edition of Shift Says, where we'll be discussing positive test management and payment responsibilities. When a worker has a positive drug or alcohol test, or self-discloses an existing or potential issue with drugs or alcohol, the employer has a legal obligation to inquire into the existence of a disability, in this case, addiction or substance dependence, and then possibly accommodate the worker. The duty to inquire is met by requiring the worker to complete a substance abuse assessment and, depending on the outcome of that assessment, develop a return to duty agreement and plan governing the worker's safe return to work. A common question I get when assisting companies with this process is who is responsible for paying for the assessment, and what about any required counseling, treatment, or follow-up testing? While human rights legislation requires an employer to inquire and accommodate, it does not require the employer to pay for this investigation and support. In the absence of a specific law requirement regarding payment, each company will assign payment responsibility taking into account things like what kind of work environment and company culture the employer wants to create, how supportive the employer wants to be of troubled workers, what resources and programs the employer has available, for example, employee and family assistance programs, and what the employer can reasonably afford. There are many different ways that employers can structure payment responsibilities, including, number one, workers to pay for all. This would include payment of the assessment, any required treatment, counseling, or education, and the completion of return to duty and follow-up testing. 2, the company would pay for all. Or 3, a mixture of both. For example, the company may pay for the substance abuse assessment, but require the worker to pay for all return to work conditions. This would include any treatment, counseling, and education, as well as the return to duty and follow-up testing. Additionally, companies may opt to implement different payment responsibilities for workers who violate a drug and alcohol policy by having a positive drug or alcohol test versus those workers who come forward and self-disclose a potential issue with drugs or alcohol prior to a policy violation. As your service provider and support for positive test management and return to duty situations, Shift OHS will provide both the worker and the employer with options for treatment, counseling, and testing that work within your budget. For example, if in-person residential treatment is required, we will provide both a lower cost public option and a higher cost but quicker availability private option. No matter how you decide to structure your payment responsibilities, this should be clearly outlined in your drug and alcohol or fit for duty policy and should be applied consistently. If you need assistance with positive test management or determining payment responsibilities, reach out to Shift OHS today.